Ooh, welcome everyone to the Daily Juice Podcast on the Betting Pros Network. I'm your host, Sean, stacking the money green. And as always, Daily Juice is being brought to you by BetMGM. Use the promo code JUICE150 and you got yourself a $1,000 risk-free bet. Give me a follow on Twitter at Sean T. Green. Always like mixing it up there, or even better, in the Betting Pros Discord, bettingpros.com/chat. I'm Sean T. Green in there as well. Feel free to hit me up. Questions, concerns, whatever it is, thanks, praise, dismay. There was a bit of everything on this college football slate, 2-2. Although, man, so close to going 3-1 there. We'll get to that. Lost about minus 0.15. I mean, I think I got the I think Alabama first half was like minus 105. So lost a tiny bit of juice there, but man, well worth the ride. All right, let's get to the losses, get those out of the way. Got two more college football picks coming up for you tonight and a MLB player prop. First up, Oregon. I had them catching 17. I mean, they just got destroyed. 49-3. Bo Nix looked horrible. The SEC looked amazing. Georgia, I mean, that defense was as good, if not better, than the one we saw in the championship game. And I don't think that's possible. I think it's more probably an indictment on how in over their head they are in Oregon and how bad Bo Nix and the offense was. And, I thought Oregon's defense would be able to do something, but just complete top to bottom. Got their ass kicked, 49-3, 17 points, never a question there. Other loss, UTSA money line. They did cover the +4, but man, they lost 37-35 in triple overtime against Houston. What an insane game. There were a bunch of crazy games. I mean, that App State UNC game, which I didn't have a play on here from Daily Juice, but man, that was wild. And this UTSA Houston game, almost just as wild. I mean, UTSA up 21-7 in the fourth quarter. I'm already, starting to congratulate myself, think of my acceptance speech for smartest handicapper of the year. And then, oh no, they get the turnover. Houston scores, then they score again, then it's 21-21. Houston gets the ball back. They're driving. They kick a field goal, although there was some shenanigans going on there with the clock operator. Like, they overturned the play, but then they didn't add time onto the clock. Houston kicked the field goal, then UTSA had no timeouts. Went, basically 50 yards down the field with like under 30 seconds left. It was crazy. Kicked the field goal to go to OT, and then they just trade, field goals and then touchdowns with the 2 points. And then it goes to triple overtime, which now in college football is just dueling 2-point conversions. Houston has a false start, so they have to take it from like the 8, and they still get it. I mean, that quarterback Toon took a ton of shots, went up and leaped in the air to get that 2-point conversion that ultimately won it. UTSA's answer on the 2-point just kind of a busted play. Houston got a bunch of pressure. There was a guy open, just couldn't get it to him. So, man, I mentioned in the handicap it was a coin toss game, and certainly felt like that in triple overtime. Could have gone either way. So +160 on the money line. Disappointing, but hey, if I'm going to lose a bet, I want it to be a sweat fest like the one I got at a UTSA. I mean, I was feeling some juice there. I don't know about you guys. Anyone else who rode with me on that one? East Carolina, another wild game. They lost 21-20 to NC State. They easily covered the 12.5. I say easily by the final score, but certainly not easy the way they did it. Man, I don't even know what to say about this game, because on one hand, they really should have won the game. I mean, the kicker missed a very makeable field goal at the end to win the game. He missed that. He also missed an extra point to tie up the game 21-21. But then ECU also had 2 goal line stands, one on 4th down and then one, NC State ended up fumbling. They were fortunate there. ECU also got a punt block for a touchdown. So I don't know who was supposed to win this game. It felt like 12.5 was pretty good for most of the game, although there was certainly a point there where you're like, man, are they even going to cover this thing? Very interesting. I don't know what to make of this ECU team, because they couldn't tackle or get some defensive plays when they needed it, but then they had some great goal line stands. They got some turnovers. And the ECU quarterback kind of all over the place. So Again, super fun game. If you had ECU money line, thoughts and prayers there, because that was, oh man, you had to feel like you had it there when the kicker had a chance at redemption and he blew it once again. Just a reminder, these kids are kids, and that's what makes college football so crazy. Last pick of the slate, it was a winner. And talking about kids, I don't know if anyone on this Alabama football team is kids. These are grown men. These are professionals. They were up 41-0 at halftime against Utah State. They covered the 27.5 fairly easily there. I mean, maybe there's with a first half spread that large, kind of anything makes you a little nervous there. They had to settle for 2 field goals, but 5 touchdowns. They got it done. Again, Alabama first half is a machine. I could just be auto playing this. So until further notice, stay tuned on that one. We'll see if they end up adjusting enough to make it interesting. But right now, Alabama is just seriously in FU mode. And yeah, RIP Utah State. I mean, it's just going to be a tough spot. All right, let's get to the picks. First up, Mike Trout over 1.5 bases. You can get that on DraftKings -110. Betting Pros is projecting 3.34 total bases, so that's almost like 1.8 something, almost 1.9. That's a pretty big difference. I like the projection here. Mike Trout coming off an 0-4 game. Again, these guys like Mike Trout or Aaron Judge, who are really pretty consistent hitters, especially getting some extra base stuff. Coming off like an 0 performance, I like them because it's going to be hard for a guy like Mike Trout to go a bunch of at-bats in a row without getting a hit or without getting an extra base hit, which we only need 1 extra base hit in this game to get it done. Before yesterday's game, 3 out of the last 5, he's been over 1.5 bases. I feel like he's kind of due for a home run, too. I feel like it's been 6 or 7 games. And Houston pitcher Jose Urquidy, he's been cold at home as of late. His last 2 starts, 10 innings pitched, 8 earned runs. So a lot going for us on this play, and it's always fun to root for Mike Trout. He's also an Eagles fan. Go Birds! Next up, college football. Not the major game. I do have a play on that. We'll get to this one. Florida A&M, the Rattlers. Head to Jackson State. Jackson State laying -3. You can get that over on WinBet, -110. Florida A&M did play week 0. So, again, looking to fade that. Keep riding that trend. Teams coming off the week 0 game, 43% against the spread overall. Jackson State quarterback Shedeur Sanders looked really impressive last season. He won the SWAC Freshman of the Year. And again, this was big news in the offseason. Of course, if you don't realize, Jackson State, that is the team that Deion Sanders is coaching. They brought in one of the country's best receivers, a 5-star freshman, Travis Hunter. He was brought in, got a massive NIL deal. And, shout out to Deion. Like, he really does seem to be doing this for the kids. Donating his salary, and he obviously could get more money. I mean, doing a lot of things, but especially coaching, probably even at a higher profile program. Shout out to him. He legitimately seems to be doing it for the kids and just for football. Like, doing it for the love of football. Let's go, Deion. I mean, I wasn't always a fan. I feel like Eagles were always playing teams that Deion was on, so I was never a massive fan, but tons of respect for his ability and what he's doing here with the program. FAMU, if you recall, I dropped this bucket news piece in the Discord last week. FAMU was missing 27 players, a last-minute thing before the UNC game. The line shot up from like 34.5 all the way up to 42 points off that news. FAMU is still missing 17 players. They still have not figured out the paperwork for their transfer portal stuff. So I still think FAMU, they're still going to have – there is still a pretty thin roster. Now, I think this spread is only +3 for Florida A&M because people go, they put up they put up a decent number of points against UNC. But now we see UNC's defense and how it looked against Appalachian State. I don't think they should be getting much credit for the points they put up against UNC. So I love Jackson State laying 3 here. Feels like it's a really good spot. Hey, you know what else is a really good spot? The App Store, Google Play Store. We can download the Betting Pros app. That's right. Expert picks, consensus picks. They got it all and tons of great information. Just type in Betting Pros in whatever app store you're in for your phone. Bet smarter, not harder. Shop around, get the best prices. I'm always using that thing when I'm pulling these lines for Daily Juice. I fire up the old Betting Pro site or the app and, get the best price. I mean, gambling's hard enough. Florida State at LSU. I'm taking LSU. You can still get -3, -112 at win. I know a lot of places have moved that to 3.5. Florida State, another team coming off a week 0 game, so look to fade them. This is being played in the Superdome, formerly the Superdome. I don't know what it's called, a Caesars Dome right now. We'll call it the Wind Dome because I'm using their lines here. I just really like LSU here, and we've kind of seen so far what SEC teams have done at home so far. I mean, Florida, Georgia. I mean, Georgia is, technically a neutral site, but that was a home game. Arkansas, Alabama, all won and covered at home. These are big programs getting it done. LSU, I mean, they're bringing in Brian Kelly. Traditionally gets off to a decent start, so I like that as well. LSU is a big-time pass rush. Defensive end B.J. Ojulari, defensive tackle Mason Smith. They're going to be able to put pressure on Florida State, and I think that's ultimately going to be the difference. I do like the LSU speed as well, especially in the Dome. I think they're going to be flying around and able to move the ball on this Florida State defense, and LSU got a nice boost for their offensive line in the transfer portal. So I think end of the day, not to be too much hardcore football guy, this game's going to be won or lost in the trenches. And, I like Brian Kelly and his family. I can't even do an impression of his bad Southern accent. Like, me and my family. He's the only guy who's moved to the South and lost his accent. So shout out to you, Brian Kelly. A bit of a phony when it came to the pep rally, but not a phony when it comes to coaching. I think he gets it done here. Give me LSU -3, -112 over on win. Also like Jackson State -3, -110 over on win. Mike Trout over 1.5 total bases. Get that over on DraftKings. If you're in the San Diego area tonight, a.k.a. Sunday night, 7 o'clock, Prohibition Lounge, doing some stand-up comedy. If you're in the area, come by, say what's up. We can talk Padres, Dodgers, any kind of football. Let's go. If you're a Daily Juice listener, you come by the show, say, hey, I heard about you from the Daily Juice. I'll grab you a beer, hang out, and appreciate you coming out to the show. Follow us on TikTok at Betting Pros. Of course, BetMGM, promo code Juice150, get that $1,000 risk-free bet. Follow me on Twitter and check out my other show, Sports Gambling Podcast. Got a ton of NFL, college football picks, previews. You got it all, as you'd imagine, sports gambling. You know what to do. Subscribe, rate, and review. And as always, don't forget to let it ride.